What up? Rahul back. Yes. Shalom. Salam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Bienvenido. What? Maboyka and Taino. Just getting up on here. Let me make sure that the sound is right. Bienvenido. What? Yes, perfect. I haven't had that much issues with my mic. Very, very good. I'm gonna continue on. Just for a brief moment. Going to continue on with what we were discussing about, the biblical narratives. Say, Hansu, what's going on, my brother? Yeah. What's going on? Yeah. And I'm doing this, so like revisiting some biblical stuff for, some of the Israelite brothers and stuff and for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Just to give another perspective, just things that everyone can consider, to consider, later on, I'll put the link. Anybody want to come in, chime in, ask any questions or just, chime in a little. Let me get on screen here for a minute. Yeah, here I am trying to do what I do. Trying to bring in this Bible concordance. Yeah. So we're gonna go on. I've been reading the blue letters, the Bible concordance, and sort of like looking at the King James version and stuff like that, and looking at it and just giving another perspective. This is what we did, when we went out to the streets, with our keys, Jalabia, the Emma, the Jalabia, the keys. We went out with the Quran, the Bible, and of course our pamphlets. Incense and oils, and went out there and we had certain conversations. So I'm trying to revisit a lot of that stuff because I feel that a lot of people missed it. And, like we says, hey, listen, we went on, we went on to other schools and we kept going on and on and on, So I like to just revisit this to some of the youth, to see if there's anything that they may want to, grab and consider, what I'm saying. You got a lot of people coming on. A lot of podcasts. Oh yeah, that what we were taught was wrong, and this and that. But again, it's a doctrine, and we was well informed of a lot of different other doctrines and those schools of thought. And if you feel that if it's wrong and you want to challenge it, by all means, challenge it. And there are brothers out there trying to challenge it, but they feel short. Let me tell you, they feel short, very, very short. Because one thing about especially being in the Ansar school and on the Platinum Bayanani, we're well-studied people, well-studied. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, I try to research and go on and on and on. And like I'm saying, we're polypath. We'd like to take different schools of thoughts and different sciences and make sure that those pieces act together. It's very, very important. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that any school of thoughts, any doctrine, anything that we engaging in, that it leads us back to the source of it, which is, we all know, right? Back then we say kulum, now we say papa ut, or we say nature, aun, right? The nature of nature, say fatar, right? Nature. And so we know that the all within the all, you know what I'm saying? And so, we just went on and on and on. And that's the life we live, that's the life of a mystic, you know what I'm saying? That's the life that we live. I'm not going to stay here too long. So so we were going back and I wanted to start with Genesis. So I broke down why does certain school of thought say that Genesis means genes of Isis. And I showed the certain according to that language and the blue letters and the Aramaic or the Hebrew language or the Aramaic language, whatever you want to choose to call it. But still in biblical, when you deal with the blue letters or deal with the Bible concordance in that particular language, that it's tones that it's in, you see the word Reshith for like the beginning, Reshi, you know what I'm saying? Re. And you see that. And then again, I made a statement and I stand by it that yes, there are a lot of people, especially when you deal with Abrahamic faith, it's a form of again, sun worship, because the sun is the highest frequency. The sun is the highest being that we know on this planet. It's one of the highest frequencies where we get a lot of our our electromagnetic forces, is those spectrums, colors, and tones. It's all coming from the sun. You know what I'm saying? From all the constellations and the sun, and the position of the sun and all the constellations. You know what I'm saying? It funnels through that, and then it funnels through our body, and we have what they call an etheric body. You know what I'm saying? Some people will say, oh, that's pseudo etheric. But no, we have an etheric body. We have an electricity. We have an electromagnetic force within us that makes things move. You know what I'm saying? When you just look at science, electricity, electromagnetic, that electricity forms a magnet, and we have this in our body. Especially that we did, we played around with balloons, we went and it stuck to the wall, and we created a magnet, there are many, many, many clues as to what our bodies are made of. You know what I'm saying? And yes, our muscles are electrified. You know what I'm saying? Our heart is pumping. What causes this? And there have been a lot of scholars that I mentioned, great information, like Dr. Sebi spoke about the carbon and the copper that we have in our system, in the body, causing that electricity and the melanin, on and on and on. So that's another study. But all of that, if the sun did not rise or appear to be rising in the morning, and that sun wasn't there, you wouldn't have anything out here. You know what I'm saying? And then when you block the sun like that, you know what I'm saying, you create a sort of a shadow on Earth, and things doesn't grow as much, because you need that sunlight for things to grow, right? You need all the elements, the ingredients that come from that sun. Even though there's things in the dark, deepest in the sea that grows, right? But still water has H2O, and it has hydrogen and oxygens, and that's also hydrogen coming from the sun. That hydrogen turning into helium and turning on and on. I mean, we could take it so on and on. So one of the highest beings, right? Sentient beings, it was one of the highest in this planet we can see is the sun. And how there have been people that follow the sun from east to west. You tell directions by knowing where the sun appears to be rising, and I'm going to say, like that to be correct, appears to be rising and appears to be setting. You know what I'm saying? They follow that. You know what I'm saying? And the fact is that you have a lot of groups, even the Israelite, the six-pointed star. Well, what is a star? A star is a sun. A sun is a star. On and on and on. So we saw this in biblical narrative, in this Genesis 1. Also, I mentioned about that, about the replenishing, you know what I'm saying? Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, right? It's the same. We're going to see it later on. I want you to think about that, you know what I'm saying? Think about that quote, you know what I'm saying? And the fact is that, when you look up in the blue letters and you look at darkness, you look at those words, it could mean destruction, it can mean a lot of things. So same thing in Noah time, same thing in Adam time, you know what I'm saying? In these Elohim, it could have been, again, when you go into out of the box and you look into other cultures, they talk about other civilization that existed prior to this civilization. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to consider also. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of Israelite brothers are getting it. They're contacting me and want me to do presentations, stuff like that. So I'm going to get something together, keep it more in that school of thought. But at the same time, again, it's connecting to the source at the end of the day. And that's that source. Where's that source at? You know what I'm saying? The origin of life itself, the origin, and those are the laws, and that's the purpose of life. You know what I'm saying? So let me bring it up here. So let's continue on. See what we have. We can continue on here. Give me 1 second. Now, we can continue on. So we looked at Genesis 1 and we spoke about this creation. And remember that the creation doesn't mean that something poof and it comes out of just poof, just appears. No, it's taking something already that is existing, right? Already existing, and again, refurbishing it, recreating it, or refurbishing it. You know what I'm saying? We see this when we look into it. So let me start reading from here. So you have, 1 second here. Yeah, I don't want to stay too long. I just want to just honor my commitment and just keep going on and on and on. So we got Genesis 2:1. It says, thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. Who's the host? Let's look at this word really closely. So we got heaven, okay? And we know that heaven, again, Shamayim, or Samawati, Samawati in Arabic. Remember, it's very so closely. Those two languages resembles a lot. It's just like two different dialects, just like you got Portuguese and you got Spanish, two different dialects, you know what I'm saying? And so you have that word there. And then for the earth, again, Eret, right? You know it as Eret, right? You know, nations and wilderness. So the whole earth, nations and country, territories, land, land without return on the underworld. And so it can mean different things depending on which way you're going to use that. But I want you to look at the host of them. Okay? Look at this. Sabah. This is why Sabaean says this is the mention of the host of them, or the Sabaean. You know what I'm saying? The host of them, the company, the appointed, the service battle, the army, the hosts of angels, the host organized army, the sun, moon, stars, the whole creation, war, and service, and on and on and on. But the simple word, Sabah. Okay? Sabah. Let's see how it says it.
Strong's H 6635. Sava.
Also Sabah into what they call translations, intertransliteration. This is interesting. That's what they say, Sabaeans hold to that. We're created, we're here first. What we call Sava, you know what I'm saying? And the host of them, you know what I'm saying? Very interesting. So I'm like, what does that mean? And how is it here in this creation of man and women? You know what I'm saying? I think that we should just take it a little slow and a little easy, because it could be a little overwhelming for a lot of people when they look at this. You know what I'm saying? Sabah, also Sabat or Mispati, Maspatu, right? Or Shabah, like the Shabah, you know what I'm saying? That could be a serious constellation, the host of them, you know what I'm saying? It could a nation of people, that were created, So it's very interesting. I just want you to consider that and look at that. You know what I'm saying? We can dig deep into that and find out what is it speaking about. So don't get overwhelmed with this. Don't get, you know what I'm saying? It's coming full circle for what you call us Ansarullah, Sufis and Sabaeans and Nawapians, especially the Sabaean, Misbatia. It's coming full circle because it's speaking about, you know what I'm saying? We can home in on this. But again, don't get overwhelmed by this. Okay? So on the seventh day, the Elohim ended. Okay, now his work. This is the trick of the English language. You got to be very, very careful, because when you look at the day and God, again, Elohim being plural. But then it goes into his, saying ended his work or ended work. They stuck the is there. Malakau, right? Malakau, property, work, service, right? Right? His religion. Remember what I said, that the biblical narrative is the recreation of a religion, or recreation of a spirit, or certain rituals. When you say spiritual, you see the word ritual in there. Certain rituals that were to enter into the mind of men. You know what I'm saying? Especially starting with the host of them, Sabaean, Sabah, and also the Elohim, those who follow Ilah, from the realm of Ilah, who follow El, Again, when you look at El, the definite article, El, like El Camino, El Carro, it's a definite. El, that definite one, okay, was also known as El. So the Ilah, and then you have what they call the Elohim, the realms of the Elohim, those that follow, or those that honor, or those that had attached to them that those rituals of El. And then a lot of people says, those Canaanite rituals, whatever, but we'll go into that later on, So, so the Elohim, they blessed the seventh day and they sanctified it, right? Because that is in it. He had, in it, they had rested to be proper. They have rested from all the works that they did, which all the Elohim created and made. When you make something, again, create something and make something synonymous, right? It's taking something that already there, that is in existence, and you just reforming it. You know what I'm saying? So these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. In that day, now we see a change. This is the first time that before Genesis 2:4, before that, you see Elohim, plural, Elohim. But here in Genesis 2:4, it's the first time that you see what? Lord, which is Yahuwah in Arabic, Yahuwah or Yahweh. Say, here's the first time you see that. And yet it is the existing one, right? Though the proper name of a one of, again, Yahu, Hua, life giver, Yahuwah, Yaman, Ya'alamu, Hua is Yahuwah, that sacred name. Here is what was known. They translate into Yahweh, okay, but it's Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah. They just left out that, what is it, that verb, what is it? Yeah. The vowel in the middle, they just left that out to trick. Like I said, you have to be very careful because there's a lot of trick. But the pronunciation, Yahovah, but you know that the V wasn't there originally, so it's Yahuwah, right? Yahweh, you know what I'm saying? It goes later on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? So we got to look at that very, very, very careful. It's just important to learn these languages if you're going to really get into that. So this is the first time this, again, Yahuwah, he of the Elohim. It's the first time it's referred to, again, Lord, like the landlord of your building, the landlord, right? The Lord stands over the land, or the Elohim, the one that is with the Elohim, one of those Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Who were the Yahuwah? Okay? Planted every field, the earth, every herbs for the, again, Yahuwah Elohim. Now it's starting to use Yahuwah Elohim from here on, right? But when in the midst of the earth and water the whole earth, and the Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground. Here again, forming man. But wait a minute. It's repeating again, because already we see in Genesis 1, he already formed male and female, them. Now he's talking about forming man. This is where we have been taught, interpreted, is that Genesis 1 is the template, the blueprint. It's like, in order for you to make something, to create something, you got to have a blueprint. You know what I'm saying? A blueprint. So Genesis 1, you're looking at a blueprint, because all over in Genesis 2, right, it talks about man being first, that there is not a man to till the ground. But in Genesis 1 mentions how he created male and female, because he created the etheric body. He created that spirit, the etheric body, the template. And then as he created that template, now it manifests into what we call a physical form. And the way it was described to us, it's like a potter's wheel, a potter's man, right? It's that the template, the idea of to form that pottery is in his mind. He has a template, he knows it, so he starts shaping it and making it, right? As he shape it and make it, there's a time where he has to step back and let natural nature take over. And by itself, that clay, wet clay, turns into pottery. You know what I'm saying? So Genesis 1, you're talking about a template. Genesis 2 is actually coming to an existence. Because there is no man to till the ground. Telling you right there. Telling you right there. But he formed man of the dust of the ground. And what it means by that, when he said, so the Yahuwah, Elohim, formed. Let's see. He, Yasar, as you say, form, Yasar, fashion, frame, make, former, earth, and propose. Human activity, origin, creation of Israel as a people. That's what we call us a Yasaru. People, nation, family, right? Yasaru, okay? To be formed, okay? Very interesting. Very interesting. So when you study even the Sabic language, it's very, very interesting. You know what I'm saying? The dust, what is this dust? We're talking about afar, right? And that is debris, the motor. Again, the motor. You shape the motor, right? Right? The loose earth, the dust, clay, mud, ashes, and so on. You just have to dig in and see it and read it for what it is. You know what I'm saying? And breath into his nostril, the breath of life. Let's look at that. Breath into his nostril. So he breathed into him. What's it? Napah, right? Napah. To breathe, to blow, to be blown, to cause to breathe out, right? Napah, right? And then you have what we call into his nostril, the breath. What is the breath? Huh? Nasama, nashama, right? The breath, nashama, nashfi, right? Who breath into him? The Yahuwah Elohim. Breath into him, ruhu, into nashama. You know what I'm saying? It's the way we've been taught. And then man became a living. Let's look at living first. He became, green, reviving, right? Fresh, like in green, living, or relative, life, sustenance, maintenance, right? He became life, revival, renewal, a community. He became that, right? Soul, nashfash. Here's the soul, nashfash. Here's a living being. Is the activity of the mind, activity of character, personality, self, life, creature, person, appetite, mind, living being, desire, emotion, and passion. So this breath that was breath into him, roho, so he became a soul, nefesh, right? Nefesh. He breathed nefesh, neshefeh into him and became a nefesh, a self, a person, okay? From that particular breath. That's we say Yahuwah, breath into it. You have a dead body and you want to bring life into that dead body and you want to give it what is a mountain mouth sensation. You go, right? You couple the mouth is, you don't go ha, you go. So that's where you get that Yahuwah to bring in life into that being, nefesh. You know? That's just putting it into that content. Okay? And I really want to leave it there, to be honest with you. Sorry. I'm going to leave it there. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to talk about the garden that's planted eastward of Eden. A specific garden is different than Eden. The garden is in Eden, but it's at the eastward part of Eden. So now we have to determine where is Eden, right? But it gives you a clue. It gives you a clue where Eden was. But then again, we have to look at that when this is taking place, how was the plate tectonic, or how was the earth? Was it at the Pangea state, or was it at the Ganawa state, or the Ronichia state? There's 3 different continental states that clumps of continent shaped. Pangea was the first one, but then you had Ganawa, where we talk about Gan, because that is the name from Eden. And we're going to see when we go into it later on, we're just going to go into that. Okay, but I'm going to leave it there. You're listening in. Huwa ma'ahana. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, Bando. Yeah, salud, Bando. Yes. So again, when you look at these biblical texts and you go, and this is the way the mystic, we learned it in sense of learning it in terms of the language. You have to know the language, and then you have to put those pieces together, and how does it make sense? And you get to see how the language was developed, and you also get to see how this is a new set of principles and morals that enter into man. You know what I'm saying? So, you can say that this was an ancient civilization that got destroyed, and then the rebuilding of it, these Elohim came from that civilization, came over, but they were already advanced scientific civilization, so they came with certain technology and science, right? And then I'm going to speak about the dust of the ground and forming this dust, because again, we have to be careful with the allegory and the metaphor, that this is speaking about a concept, a mental concept that's coming into man's being, breathing into him. You're breathing into man a certain character and personality. That's why you got to be careful with the room that you on with a person. You got to be careful. People breathe on other people. They breathe their essence, okay? The DNA. That's forensic science, bro. Wherever you go in your room, you're breathing, and you're leaving, you're depositing DNA all over. You know what I'm saying? So, this breath carries information, and this is why bringing breath into what we call man, making him a living soul, a nafash, a soul, It's not speaking about the evolution. It's not going into the origination, evolution of man itself. Is speaking about man spiritual, right? His etheric self, his spiritual, his character, personality being formed. That's what this scripture is all about. It's a certain principles, character, personality being formed coming into play in this civilization 74,000 years ago, right? It's a new set of concept, ideas, and mental, new sets of customs. You know what I'm saying? A renewed set of customs that's coming in, that's being breathed into them from the Elohim, the Ilah, those that follow El, Elohim, El, right? That school of thought came in. Where did they come from? Where did these Elohim come from? You know what I'm saying? Hey, we can explore more and more into that. This is the mystic way, and then I want to leave you with that, because this is the way, we see it. And you see how very interesting how we look up the word. The host of them was created, the Sabah, and because Sabah in Sudan, the Sabah went into Yemen, went into other area, that's why birth Arabic. That is why birth a lot of those principles. Because when you look at the original Sabaean, the Sabah of Sudan, you're talking about an ancient custom that comes all the way from the Nile Valley. The Nile Valley. Tamari, they follow Tamari, the succession of Mari, what I'm saying? The Ma Federation, those Saba, those 7 lineages that settled in that area, 7 houses, 7 families, 7 lineages that settled Saba. Those hosts of them, their character, personality was created. They were already solidified. You know what I'm saying? This is ancient. This goes all the way back into the Nile Valley, up and down the Nile Valley. See, that's where we're at right now. So when you look at this Sabaean, that's just a term used today, but or the Gehazi, or you look at, even with the Metanetta, because if you look at the Sabaean words and you look at the Sabaean language, you could trace a lot of that. You can understand the Medu, or the Madat, okay, of the Nataru, Madat of the Nataru, or what they call the Metanetta. You know what I'm saying? Or that particular glyph, not glyphs, but their particular pronunciations. You know what I'm saying? You see those words like Anuk, Anukai. You know what I'm saying? You see the resemblance, the similarities to a lot of that, because this is an ancient language, a tones. Okay, yes, it found its way into Yemen, and it did change, and it formed the Arabic. It changed, you know, the Ge'ez. It changes because you got families that travels out, and yeah, the environments, and they change. They change. Like, I'm Puerto Rican from New York City, and I would speak Spanish differently than those that live in the island of Puerto Rico. As the Dominicans will tell you the same thing in Cubans. You know what I'm saying? When we go back into the island, yeah, our pronunciation has changed because of the environment we were in and being exposed to other languages like English. You know what I'm saying? It changes. Same thing with the Sabiic. And that particular language came from the Nile Valley, the junction of the Nile, the Nile Valley, Sabah, they call Soba, or Sabah. That particular area was known as Sabah because there were seven families, 7 kingdoms from the Ma Federation, right? Tasseri, those Ma Federations settled there and became those 7 families, got together, became 7 families, you know, together, and started to create a culture within themselves. You know, we also have to take that into consideration. So there's a lot we can speak about, bro. It's a lot. I mean, and I'm just here to share that with you. Get out of here. I'm just here to share that with you. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so that we could consider a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving you, I'm not giving you all of it, but I'm giving you little clues, little things here, how the teachings, especially teaching coming from the Sufi, right? As the Sahuf, the Sufi, and the Sabah, you know what I'm saying? That you know, that is passed on and on from the Nouveau, you know, people, the Nouveau on into the Mali, you know what I'm saying? Into Ma'ande, to the Mali people. This I would say doctrine, but this culture, these institutions, these oral traditions passed it on and on and on. So Master Silla, through my master teacher, goes all the way back into Sudan, Khatum and the Mahmud. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and a lot of the teachings that come from there, you know what I'm saying? And also when you deal with Ahmed and Malik, the bass player, and back Sheikh Dawood and those musicians that got together, and they brought back a lot of the teaching from Sudan. Because you check out Ahmed Malik, the bass player. Check out what he brought back. And so you're seeing a lot of this Sicily information being spread out and being taught, oral traditions. And a lot of it is taught in masjid, a lot of it is taught in the mason and the lodges, you know what I'm saying? And we was privy to have someone who followed that Sicily, that frame of that particular thought pattern. So we're honored by that. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to drop that in there. But again, for those of you just coming in now, just check out what we have already discussed. And I'm going to be out of here, folks. I got some things I got to take care of. Man, it's hot. Let's drink some water. Man, I'm hot. I'm I don't want to do too much here right now. I don't want to give you too much because we already spoke about, I already show you, boom, boom, Sava, you know, right? Meaning the host of them, the host, Sava, the host of them, Sava. I already gave you that. And I already show you how, you know, those words, nafash, you know what I'm saying? Or ruhu. I didn't go to ruhu, but the nafash, you know what I'm saying? And those Elohim, El, Elohim, El, you know what I'm saying? Coming. And I show you that. You know what I'm saying? So, but keep in mind about the replenishing the earth and stuff like that. We're going to see that again. And just to consider things, you know what I'm saying? It's not that serious. It's not that hard to really follow that sort of pattern, but I'm here. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you so that you can consider it. You don't have to believe in it. Just if you feel you want to investigate it and further and know it. And I'm giving you clues. Right there. You can see it. It's in the language. The key is in the language. That's the key right there. I show you Yasar, right? Also meaning family in Sabiic. You know, this is what I'm telling you. this is a unification of all of us, our people, coming from different schools of thoughts. Okay. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, I'm going to be out right now. I like to just say, I just like to wish you the all and best. Okay. I wish you the all nature of nature and the best. Okay. Later on, we'll speak about that. Peace.